And here is more on Jack Daniel's communal influences and cultural equity.
Jack Daniel's is an iconic brand. They create Tennessee whiskey. They hold notable titles such as the top-selling American whiskey in the world and the oldest whiskey distillery in the U.S. These titles serve more than an award for them. They highlight the history and culture embedded in the Jack Daniel's brand. In 1864, Jasper Newton, Jack Daniel, left his home and learned the art of whiskey making from a preacher, Reverend Call, and an enslaved man, nearest Green. 2 years later, Jack purchased this business from Reverend Call and established and registered the first distillery in the United States. Following the Civil War and freedom of Nearest Green, Jack hired Nearest as his first master distiller, and then purchased the Cave Spring Hollow in Lynchburg, where they would then begin their whiskey business. Today, Jack Daniel's is owned and an endorsed brand of Brown-Forman. According to the Brown-Forman website, their mission is to enrich the experience of life in their own way by responsibly building beverage and alcohol brands that thrive and endure for generations. Jack Daniel's, even before they were acquired by Brown-Forman, upheld this mission. They artfully craft Tennessee whiskey with time and character in each sip for consumers to responsibly enjoy with friends. Now let's talk about Jack Daniel's target market. Whiskey has traditionally been consumed by middle-aged to older men, so it's no surprise that this audience has primarily been Jack Daniel's target audience. Specifically, they've narrowed their focus to American middle-aged to older men. However, when it comes to income, educational level, professional background, or marital status, Jack Daniel's does not discriminate. They are the everyman archetype. They believe all men can and should drink Jack Daniel's. They also emphasize the everyman archetype and the idea of belonging that Jack Daniel's can bring to a person throughout their brand, in their advertising, crowdsourcing activities, their mission, and their brand community. It can also be argued that Jack Daniel's is broadening their audience and introducing a secondary target audience. This is younger males and females. This is to meet the growing interest in the whiskey business. Currently, the whiskey industry is growing and whiskey varieties are prevalent and popular in the marketplace. Jack Daniel's has recently introduced new products such as Tennessee Honey and Country Club cocktails to meet the demands and interests of these new audiences.
Communal influences have influenced the Jack Daniel's brand in a variety of positive ways. And the key ingredient to their communal success is that they have a good recipe both for whiskey and for building consumer relationships. And their brand managers have been able to manage these opportunities to great success. Now, one way that Jack Daniel's has been able to capitalize on their loyal fan following is through crowdsourcing techniques. And most notably, in 2014, they used crowdsourcing as a way to celebrate their 164th anniversary with the world's first crowdsourced bar promotion. They called it the bar that Jack built. They asked fans to share ideas on how the bar should look, and in the end, not only had they used social media to source these great ideas, but they'd source materials, laborers, and even a videographer who did all of the promotional videos for the project. All of this work was completed in just 6 weeks worth of time, and it was built in Sydney, Australia. Now, this technique brought the community together in a collaborative way, and it rang true to the brand's authenticity as it was a tactic that celebrated the Jack Daniel's birthday in a way that was uniquely their own. Now, over time, the general brand sentiment has morphed into more specialized brand communities, and one of the most notable ones that comes to mind is their brand community within the music industry. Frank Sinatra started that trend in 1947 when he was introduced to Jack Daniel's and helped catapult it to legendary status. From Sinatra, Jack Daniel's took off in the rock and roll sector, and it really is what the brand calls their tipping point when they went from a regional whiskey brand to really having legendary status. The brand became even more tied to rock and roll culture when legends like the Rolling Stones and Led Zeppelin were frequently photographed with the brand. Other examples of their diverse brand community include connecting with firefighters through Tennessee Fire promotion, motorcycle enthusiasts with their Win a 2018 Jack Daniel's limited edition Indian Scout motorcycle promotion, and even with the fashion community with the limited edition Jack Daniel's branded Air Force One tennis shoe. Now, all of these examples are more than merely promotions. They show how Jack Daniel's has created community in all of these various groups by connecting through shared values.
So American culture is defined as vertical individualistic. with cultural concerns around power and status seeking, a person-to-person dynamic that seeks dominance of low-status others, and a relationship between self and society that lauds upward mobility. Where does whiskey fit in? Whiskey as a representation of a person-to-person dynamic that seeks dominance of low-status others? It's challenging to see Jack Daniel's as emblematic of that convention. And if I'm being honest, I don't think it entirely fits. If anything, its existence as a moderately priced alcohol is more egalitarian and really embodies a broader theme of independence. Consumed by rock stars and average Joes alike, the brand is more unifying than unbalanced if we are looking at how it might embody American or vertical individualistic culture. When examining how a vertical individualistic culture views the relationship between self and society, it is one of upward mobility, and certainly the life of a popular musician is an excellent example of upward mobility, sometimes at a rapid pace. In terms of globalist perceptions, I would offer that it was musicians who discovered and consumed, fairly conspicuously, Jack Daniel's were international ambassadors that took with them the values and personality of the brand. So it became a global brand, an iconic brand, the way many brands do, through an exchange of culture via celebrity usage.
Jack Daniel's has taken its own unique path in fostering brand communities. Jack Daniel's even did his own form of branding to help foster brand communities in Lynchburg, Tennessee by giving out coins, bottles, and even creating a town band that played across the state. There are various fan clubs and communities that Jack Daniel's has leveraged into their branding, but they also take a sit back and watch approach to most of their fan club activities. However, Jack Daniel's does support these communities by giving them events to attend. The most famous one being Jack Daniel's World Championship Invitational Barbecue, where people can come and enjoy Jack Daniel's, games, and a huge barbecue competition. These fan communities also create their own events where they donate to charity, they do tastings of Jack Daniel's, as well as food pairings with the drinks. This all builds into Jack Daniel's cultural equity. The symbolism of Jack Daniel's comes into three main categories: America, independence, and legend. Jack Daniel's represents America as becomes a symbol of American whiskey, also being the only whiskey to have the designation of Tennessee whiskey. Jack Daniel's also symbolizes independence. The symbol is used in various Jack Daniel's advertisements and was even the name of Jack Daniel's website with jackindependence.com. It has since been changed back. Jack Daniel's is also a symbol of legend. Given its long history and the legends surrounding the drink, such as how they got the name the number 7, which still has not been released to this day, Jack Daniel's has taken advantage of its history of being the oldest registered distillery in the United States, but Jack Daniel's has become a brand surrounded by legends that people love to enjoy.
Through our research, it is clear to see that Jack Daniel's is an icon in the alcoholic beverage market and an icon in the branding world. So how does one company older than the term branding become the most enjoyable one of all? When we look at our communal influences, we see that three key things are at play, which is comfort, reliability, and quality. That's what Jack Daniel's uses to leverage the relationship between itself and its consumers, and just continue to build off of that. We see that it's deep in rich tradition and heritage, and it just gives off a significant profile as an American whiskey. And that's what people love, especially after a long day of work or wanting to go out and have a good time. The communal influence is really portrayed well in the Our Town commercial by Jack Daniel's. It shows that the town it's from, it shows the people that are a part of the town, and it just continues to build off of a good tradition there. When we look at the cultural equity, we see that Jack Daniel's is built on process. People love to know the process of how things are made because it gives them that sense of like, wow, this is quality. And knowing that Jack Daniel's is a quality whiskey, a quality product all around, it gives people the feeling of wanting to be a part of this because they know that it was made with care and they're gonna care back for this company. So some recommendations that I believe that we should make for Jack Daniel's is just maybe a smaller campaign that rolls out what has been, what is, and what is to come. Basically throwing it back to the days of the rock stars and showing what Jack Daniel's has been through the ages as what has been. And then what is just keeping up the consistency, loving on the customers you already have. And what is to come, using social media as the biggest tool that you have to reach the next generation. You don't have to do much work because Jack Daniels is a name that speaks for itself. So just making sure that we capitalize on all ends and just keep it up. Consistency, knowing where we came from, and then driving home of where we want to go.